So the Link Click Season 3 PV drop. We have just 1 minute of new footage, but not only does it have some insane reveals, it connects all the way back to stuff we were shown in the first episodes of Link Click. Spoilers for the whole series, let's unpack this. The most pressing revelation is that Lu Guang and Chang Xiaoshi met when they were kids. But Chang Xiaoshi doesn't remember this when they meet again at the basketball court. People have been saying they were childhood friends. I don't know how long you have to know each other for that to be the case, but to me, it looks like their meeting was only for a couple days at most. The photo studio where Chang Xiaoshi has lived since his childhood is in the middle of a city. This train station is surrounded by bush, with no large buildings in sight. It looks much more like a regional area. I'd bet Chang Xiaoshi met Lu Guang while he was on a trip. At the start of the trailer, it looks like Lu Guang is about to fall onto the tracks as Chang Xiaoshi reaches out to grab him. The trailer hints that something big happened here, as at the end, Laosa says what is believed to be the trigger point, Chang Xiaoshi's death, is not actually the beginning of things changing. Maybe Lu Guang fell onto the tracks and died when they were kids. Maybe either Chang Xiaoshi's parents or an older Chang Xiaoshi went back in time to save him, thus starting this domino effect of everything going wrong. Now Lu Guang is trying to stop Chang Xiaoshi from dying, but he doesn't know that the real cause stems from himself being alive. A common theme between so many of Link Click's songs is forgetting. In the second ending, The Tides, we are told that the only way for the narrator to save the person they were trying to save was to have never met them. I thought this was about the boys meeting on the basketball court, but what if it goes back further than that? The only way to save Chang Xiaoshi is to change the past so they never met as kids. When Chang Xiaoshi gives a bit of film to Lu Guang, we can see these bruises on his arm. Maybe it's because of what happened with the Li siblings, but my instinct says abuse. We never see them, but Lu Guang has talked about his dad before. Quote, "My father noticed my ability to see through photos when I was 7 years old." This is so vague. It could be anything from a totally chill reaction to, my son has devil powers and I need to purify him. If it's the latter, they seem to be around 7 in the trailer, so that would explain the bruising. But it could also be totally innocent. Lu Guang appears to, at minimum, fall at one point, so it might just be from that. While the line is vague, he doesn't say anything negative about his father. What Lu Guang says before this line is also interesting. Quote, "Somebody once told me that many people, like us, are born special. Just like some people are born good at sports and some are born sensitive to music." When I first heard this in Brighton Arc, I thought Lu Guang was just making stuff up so he didn't have to tell Chang Xiaoshi the truth. But what if it was actually one of Chang Xiaoshi's parents that told him this when they met on this trip as kids? We know the Link Click creators like to get tricky with the way they edit the trailers, and this one is no different. There are 2 scenes in particular that don't line up with each other at all despite being presented as chronological. One is the first scene we see. Lu Guang and Chang Xiaoshi are balancing along the edge of train tracks on opposite sides. The next scene makes it look like Lu Guang went on to stumble and Chang Xiaoshi to grab him. But this scene does not happen straight after the first scene, as now they're both on the same side of the track. It wants you to think that Lu Guang fell, but what if this happens the opposite way around, and this was Lu Guang teasing Chang Xiaoshi before jumping to the opposite side of the track? It would make everything I said before pointless, but nonetheless it's a possibility. The second is Lu Guang on the train tracks at night. The first shot is of a signal light. Notice the train on the left is moving towards the screen. In the next shot, the train is still on the left, but now it's moving away from the screen. It's not possible for this to be the same train in both shots. The editing wants to make you think the camera just turned around to show Lu Guang, but if that were the case, the train should be on the right side of the screen, not the left, because that's how turning around works. So either it's a mistake or it's not at all chronological. I also want to talk about the train tracks themselves. Trains traveling along different tracks is quite clearly a metaphor for the existence of parallel timelines. Aside from in this trailer, they've never been a main focus in the series, but they've kind of always quietly been there. The season 1 opening, Dive Back in Time, includes a shot of a train, despite trains not being important in that season at all. The promotional rap battle song is titled Train Trail. In the second opening Vortex, Chang Xiaoshi falls through tracks heading into a tunnel. They are relevant this season as the final fight takes place on an underground railway, specifically at a crossroads, an obvious metaphor for all the aspects of that season colliding at the end. But the foresty outdoor section of the tracks in the opening matches much more with the outside train station we see in the PV than anything we see in season 2. This being a reference to their childhood also fits more with the opening thematically. Vortex shows a timeline progressing and then it reversing to restart once Lu Guang dives. The train tracks are Chang Xiaoshe's initial entrance to the timeline and also the place he returns to. If it was referring to what happened in season 2, it should be placed at the end of the timeline, not the start. It makes a lot more sense if it is referring to Chang Xiaoshe and Lu Guang's past meeting. We briefly see 2 pages. One has Jack, the mean British model, and the other has Xia Fei. These are likely related to their missing persons cases that we see at the end of Brighton Arc, as the important information section on both profiles is censored, so it can't be read. On Jack's, we see his birthday, his place of birth, which is Brighton, his ID number, and that his highest level of education is high school. Nothing unusual. Xia Fei's gets kind of weird though. We see his birthday and that his highest level of education is university. That's fine. However, his ID number is actually different depending on where you watch the PV. If you watched it on Twitter, his ID has 1998, like his birthday. But if you watched it on YouTube, it's 1993. That's an insane mistake to make. What, did they animate the whole trailer, only realize in the last second they made a mistake, changed it, but accidentally uploaded the wrong version to YouTube? That is so unlikely. The trailer has been out for a few days and hasn't been corrected, so it seems intentional. Are the different trailers supposed to be different timelines? I mean, we are shown this number right when the butterfly effect is said, although I've watched both versions frame by frame and that is the only part that is different. It's also weird that his place of birth is unknown. We see him call his mother. His place of birth should be readily available information, unless that's not really his biological mother. Xia Fei's childhood is shrouded in mystery. We clearly see that he attended the Bahati language school as a kid, and yet when he's asked about it in Brighton Arc, he says he doesn't know anything. Not to mention, according to reports, there was only one survivor of the fire, Chris, but Xia Fei is clearly alive. The fire was absolutely some kind of cover-up. There's tons of theories about the school actually being a place for children with powers, possibly even for them to be studied or experimented on. My personal belief is that the fire was used to fake the deaths of the students. Chris is literally the fake death ability user. That's why she was the only recorded survivor. Guided by Chang Wei-min, she used her ability to kill everyone else and got out herself. And then the kids, Xia Fei included, were put into hiding and given to new families. That would explain why his place of birth is unknown, despite having a living mother. Moving on to Leo Xiao's first appearance in the trailer, we see him looking at some graffiti. The symbol is one we've seen before. It's Leo Xiao's tattoo. The PV is actually cropped, so we can't see if he has the tattoo or not in this scene. Nonetheless, this brings up a couple questions. Why is he investigating the symbol? I mean, he literally has it tattooed on him. You're meant to do your research before you get a tattoo? No, but seriously, Leo Xiao has been referred to as the mastermind behind everything multiple times. In his character MV, he is portrayed as a cult leader, which made me believe that he was heading the organization this symbol represents. However, him having to investigate it makes me think he's actually trying to enact revenge against this organization, that his tattoo might have been forced on him like some kind of branding. This is furthered by the symbol's connection to Bahati, which is also written on the wall. Leo Xiao is actively investigating Chang Xiaoshe's parents, who are deeply involved with the school. There are smaller drawings on the wall which look like eyes. It's not exactly the same, but this eye motif is also on the back of the notebook Vane tries to steal from Chris. This also ties in with the second time we see Leo Xiao in the PV. All the way back when he was a kid, we see him give an umbrella to a brown-haired lady wearing a mask. This woman is most likely Chang Xiaoshe's mum. From the brief glimpses we get of her, we can see they have the exact same hair color. I just explained my theory of Xia Fei being involved in a cover-up adoption, so maybe Leo Xiao is also one of those kids and now wants revenge on the organization that destroyed his childhood. He does not resemble his parents at all. If anything, he looks most similar to Chang Xiaoshe and Wei Min. No, that is a whole, very plausible can of worms I do not want to unpack. The last shot of the opening is of Li Tian Chen. The light behind him is changing colours, but there's also blue and pink lights flashing in front of his face too. It looks like police lights. It might also be the flashes of cameras. At the end of the clip he smiles, so whatever is happening here is very much part of Leo Xiao's plan. Finally, there's some very small red text hidden in the PV, between Lu Guang at the basketball court and the title card, which apparently translates indicates to we are out of options or it's hopeless. It's ominous, but also we already knew this. Luguang says it's his last attempt at the end of season 2. It seems odd to do so much to hide it when it's not really new information. Maybe it's a warning to the viewers that the ending is going to be tragic and to give up all hope. I just wanted to throw this in at the end as I didn't find out about this until recently, but the band that did the Link Click openings, Baisha Jaws, has broken up. There's a lot to it, from infighting between the members to issues with money and copyright. You can find the whole story on Reddit, but from what I've seen, it's for the best they disbanded. Although I am going to miss their music. So going forward, Link Click's intros will have to be done by a new artist. Okay, that's it. Thank you for your time.